Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. This is Rocket Ship IAS Lab and continuing with our series on answer writing for general studies papers of civil service main examination. We will take up a question that you might come across in GS paper 2. Here goes the question. The significance of India's island territories is not only geopolitical. Is not only geopolitical but encompasses the cultural, economic, and ecological domains. Explain. Actually, this is an easy one, a rare easy question that UPSC might throw you. And the question, because the question itself makes clear what themes you have to write about. The themes as are cultural, economic, and ecological domains. So how we introduce our answer? Actually, these kinds of questions, these easy type of questions, if you may, provide you ample scope of displaying your knowledge, your general knowledge actually. And we would indeed start here with a piece of general knowledge, that is defined variously. India's territory encompasses 1382 islands. India has almost 1382 islands defined variously. Most Indian states with sea coast have islands. However, the larger numbers are parts of the Union territories of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep. Moreover, the delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra too has a number of islands. These things do not have to explain to you that India has three main island territories, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, as well as the deltaic region of Ganga and Brahmaputra, the Sundarbans. Experts recognize the geopolitical significance of India's islands. In what ways we can say that India's islands are its actual fortresses, island fortresses. These are due to their function as they control the sea lines of communication. We are almost everyone here is well aware that the Andaman and Nicobars act as, you could say, a geopolitical stronghold as we enter the Malacca Strait. Similarly, the 9-degree channel is a busy shipping channel in the Lakshadweep group of islands. They can also act as early warning bases. They have used as operational springboard. What it means that from here they can act as India's forward bases to take you could say expeditionary actions or offensive actions against an adversary. They can act as strategic launch pads, as you would be well aware from the examples of Chandipur and Sriharikota Islands. You would explain these points a bit. Location of India's islands gives India a sort of vantage point over the sea lines of communication. Vantage point, if you could use the metaphorical term, it is bird's eye view. Over the sea lines of communication, Andaman and Nicobar Islands overlook the Malacca Strait and the 9-degree channel. This question might appear in prelims also. Where is the 9-degree channel situated? And you have to remember that it is in the Lakshadweep groups of island. Passing through Lakshadweep is a major shipping route. So these islands allow India some sort of control over these shipping routes, these sea lines of communication. Islands also act as early warning bases. We can, for an example, situate weapons tracking, missile tracking radar over the Andaman and Islands so that we can actually down the enemy's missiles. They also act as operational springboards to undertake amphibious operations, that is sea-to-land operations. These reasons were considered while establishing the Andaman and Nicobar Joint Command. Andaman and Nicobar Command is a joint command of all the three forces of India. However, as the question already argues, the island's significance is not limited to geopolitical. What are the areas in which we can say that India's islands have significance more than geopolitics? These are in the ecological domain, where we would be aware of this term island endemism. We are almost certainly aware that India's islands display quite some unique biodiversity, some of which are actually restricted to them. That is, there is high degree of endemism. They also have coral reefs, especially the Lakshadweep, and coral reefs are well known for their biodiversity, very high biodiversity actually. Moreover, Andaman and Nicobar Islands connects India with the insular, that is the island Southeast Asia. So it's a meeting point of two different biodiversity realms actually. You might be aware, we have already discussed things about the biodiversity realm. For example, biogeographical realms actually. They also have cultural significance. They have unique tribes, some of which are particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Then there is this language, Divehi is a language that is spoken in Lakshadweep. It's unique in the sense because it has a different origin from the major languages that are spoken in Lakshadweep. We would discuss about these things later. Then the islands have economic significance too. They have quite some potential for tourism, and moreover they rely on the important trade routes. So this way India can actually utilize their position on these trade routes for you could say many economic areas, for example many commercial, you could say, avenues. They are also geological laboratory. You are almost certainly aware that India's only active volcano is the barren island on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Similarly, coral reefs could be studied in Lakshadweep and other reefs which are present along India's coasts. Moreover, this delta, the delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra, is considered world's largest delta, and we can study so many things including subsidence due to sea level rise and all those things. Now elaborating on these points, islands, due to their isolation, have been favorable habitat of unique biodiversity. You can well understand, as they were isolated from the mainland, they have quite some unique biodiversity. The biodiversity in the islands has evolved in a different path. It has taken a different path of evolution. Andamans have more than 30 endemic reptiles. You could use this number in your actual write-up. The Narkondam hornbill is as you would be well aware, is an endemic bird. Moreover, Nicobar megapode is another endemic bird. Lakshadweep houses India's richest corals, well known for high biodiversity. You are almost certainly aware that coral reefs harbor very high biodiversity everywhere actually, and Lakshadweep is no exception. And the Sundarbans have the world's most extensive mangroves. Now, islands have great significance in anthropology. They house unique tribes. Andaman has isolated tribes like the Sentinelese, Ongs, Jarawas, Shompins, Great Andamans, etc. Unfortunately, most of these are counted as particularly vulnerable tribal groups, and their culture has to be protected at any cost, because that would display our actual commitment to diversity. Now, as we were talking about Divehi, which is a language which is spoken in Minicoy of Lakshadweep, Minicoy island of Lakshadweep, actually it has wondered people, it has wondered linguists, because it is an Indo-Aryan language, unlike Dravidian languages which are mostly spoken in other atolls, other islands of Lakshadweep. So its origin has been a source of quite some wonder. It has surprised the linguists. Now, with their sun-soaked beaches and clear waters, Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep have the potential of attracting much tourist traffic. You would be well aware that recently the Indian Prime Minister had tried to enthuse Indians into visiting Lakshadweep. Moreover, India plans a transshipment port. This has also been in news recently in Andamans to take advantage of trade shipping volume passing through the Malaccas. The plan is to develop Andaman and Nicobar in the same, you could say, along the same lines as Singapore. Moreover, the islands can act as research subjects to understand geological phenomena. Barren is India's only active volcano, and Andamans can help us understand and forecast disasters like the 2004 tsunami. Actually, the same geological processes which caused the 2004 tsunami are also responsible for the volcanism at Barren Island. So we can actually study about a impending disaster, for an example. Lakshadweep can tell us about coral reefs. Now, to conclude, we would actually focus on, we have already talked about the economic potential of the islands, but we have to remember that the islands have very fragile ecology. So while planning for these economic activities, we must always keep in mind that they have a very fragile economy and we must always proceed with caution. So the conclusion is India's islands are rich in culture and biodiversity and have economic potential. But we should be cautious about their fragile ecology and prepare for crises like climate change that has set off sea level rise, coral bleaching, etc. You can well understand that these phenomena like sea level rise or coral bleaching would endanger India's islands. That is how we had to say all about the question that we have discussed today. We will bring to you another question in a few days. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.